You wonderful listeners, you are welcome to another wonderful edition of Health Matters on Daily Insider TV. I remain your humble health host, Yusuf Yakub. Today we'll be talking about the lung, its functions, its environment, and of course, diseases affecting the lung and some preventions of these diseases. What is the lung? In the human body, we have two lung lobes in our chest. This lung is responsible for respiration, which is the breathing out and breathing in of the human being. Of course, it is also called expiration and inspiration, which is breathing out and breathing in. If there is no lung in our body, if there is no lung in the human body will not be able to survive. Of course, if you cannot breathe out and breathe in, you will never be able to survive. So the lung is very, very paramount, and it is very, very important in the human body. And of course, this lung is also responsible for some other functions like blood pressure control. It is also responsible for some other respiratory functions, and so on and so forth. Having known the function of the lung has two sides. It has the one at the right and the one at the left. So we have two lungs. These two lungs is responsible for expiration and inspiration, which is called the respiratory system. The lung made up the respiratory system and some other organs like that. This lung is affected, or it is infected with some health risk and some other diseases of the lung. These diseases of the lung includes asthma, tuberculosis, asbestosis, pneumonia, and so on and so forth. What causes these lung diseases? Lung diseases is contacted through the intake of some dangerous or harmful substances into the lung. When bacteria or dirty substances enter the lung, it causes the lung to have some various infections, like as I've said earlier, asthma, tuberculosis, asbestosis, and some other diseases of the lung. Today we'll be focusing on asthma, tuberculosis, and even pneumonia. Asthma and tuberculosis is diseases of the lung that is caused by the intake or the use of some harmful substances which affect the lung, or maybe some invasion of bacteria which enters the lung and its environment. These lung diseases can be prevented with so many routines and so on and so forth. But aside from that, what are the symptoms of these lung diseases? Symptoms of lung diseases include coughing. Sometimes many people cough and with negligence, they don't want to know the cause of their coughing. When someone coughs more than 2-3 days, you are having one symptoms of respiratory disorder, which might be asthma, pneumonia, tuberculosis, bronchitis, and some other lung health issues. Of course, aside from coughing, there are some times when a patient having lung diseases will be having breathing difficulty. When you work a simple job or do a simple chore and you are having a breathing problem, maybe if you work for just minutes or 2 minutes, you are having breathing issue, you are having breathing difficulty, or maybe when you sleep at night, you find it difficult to breathe properly, or even when you are sitting, sometimes your breathing issue becomes very hard. This is one of the symptoms of lung diseases. And of course, chest pain. People having one lung diseases or the other usually have chest pain. Sometimes cold at the chest, and some other times a person having of one lung disease or the other will be having insomnia, which is sleepless night. You won't be able to sleep at night because of the coughing and some other symptoms like that. The basic and most common symptoms of lung diseases is coughing, breathing issue, and sometimes sneezing, and some other flu also, and some other symptoms like that. When someone detects these symptoms, when you discover you are having a cough that is very, very rampant, or sometimes you are having breathing difficulty, or sometimes you get cold easily, or maybe sometimes you have chest pain, you should be very, very careful. You shouldn't be negligent of going to a doctor. Visit a doctor and complain these symptoms to him. When such symptoms has been considered, you may have what we call chest x-ray. If you do this chest x-ray, if you have any lung diseases, it will bring it out. Maybe you have pneumonia, maybe you have asthma or some other cases like that. And of course, if you are diagnosed with any lung issue, after being treated, or if you are treated, make sure you prevent it with these health tips. One of the these are some of the routines you can follow to keep your lung very safe. One is, if you are smoking, you should quit smoking instantly. To keep our lung very safe, we should make sure we don't smoke maybe tobacco or some other smoking instrument or some other smoking materials like that. Because if someone who is smoking has any lung diseases, or even if you don't have at all, you are at high risk of contacting or having lung diseases, because smoking affects our respiratory system. The smoking materials in it gets into our lung, it stays into our lung, and sometimes it goes into becoming some health risk of the lung. Of course, make sure you desist from inhaling dust particles. Most people have these lung diseases from inhaling dirty lung particles. Of course, people working at some factories like Gary factories, or people who work mainly with smokes, where there are smokes from fire. If you inhale this smoking from fires or from burning particles too much, you are at high risk of having any lung diseases or issue. And of course, there are some people, maybe bricklayers or some other people who work where there are dust particles, or maybe some Okada riders who work where they are in areas that are very dustful. When you work at areas like this, make sure you use face masks, because if you are not using face masks and you are inhaling too much dust particles or sand particles, it might enter the lung and dwells in the lung, and later on cause one of the lung or one or two lung health issue. Of course, if someone has lung diseases, maybe asthma, pneumonia, or even if you don't have yet, make sure you desist from drinking cold substances frequently. You should make sure you also wear sweaters, and of course prevent yourself when we are in Harmattan season. Make sure you wear sweaters or clothes that can prevent cold from entering your chest. Of course, you should use the prescribed drugs by the doctor regularly, and of course make sure you drink and eat healthy foods as at when due. Make sure you exercise regularly, because exercising makes the respiratory systems to be in homeostasis. It keeps it in balance, and of course it helps build your respiratory system to become very strong, and it makes your inhaling and exhaling to be in a constant view. Having known that, we should also make sure that our lung is kept at a very balanced stage by doing all these health simple tools, so as to prevent ourselves from having this risk of having complications of lung. One of the complications of the lung is having lung cancer or lung abscess. These two cases is very risky, because if you have a lung abscess which is having pus materials in the lung, it is very risky that sometimes, if doctors should prescribe some antibiotics and some other supplements, if a patient should use it and it does not keep you safe from having lung, or it does not cure you from having that lung abscess, you might need surgery. Of course, lung cancer, if you have lung cancer, it is one of the most dangerous health issue out there. Many people who have lung cancer, as far as the American Society of Health has said, it kills rapidly, and it kills more than any other disease, because if it affects the lung, if you have any lung issue, it affects every activity of your body, because if you can't breathe well, nothing in the environment will be very safe. It makes you at high risk of even dying instantly. So as to prevent yourself from having an unexpected death, make sure you keep your lungs safe by doing these health tips. Drink and eat carbonated foods. Drink as much as possible. Prevent yourself from getting cold. Prevent yourself from having these lung health issues. by stopping smoking, stopping marijuana, and some other things that can make you contact these health lung diseases. And of course, if you want to be safe, if you want to be healthy, if you want to keep your health in balance, make sure you follow us on our different social media handles. We are on Facebook, we are on Twitter, we are on TikTok. We remain Daily Insider TV. God bless us all. Have a nice day. Bye.